Hello there folks, welcome to another train simulator video. We are back on the illustrious and fabulous Powder River Basin by Tomcat, which you can find on Railworks America currently. I will link down below. A few things I'd like to get out of the way first and foremost. First of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're checking out the Powder River Basin, I would recommend starting with video number 1. But it's since been 2 months since I've done a video on the Powder River Basin, and that was on the Orange Sub, which is all the coal mines that goes that way. Just pop the map up real quick here. So we were up here, and here are all the strip mines. What used to be, this map is supposed to represent the heyday of the Powder River Basin. Coal basin, strip mine basin, if you will. But we are working our way around this thing. Now, a lot of you may already be thinking, hey, we can't play this. We need, the Tehachapi assets from 3D Trains, which is now, unfortunately, no longer available due to certain circumstances. Sadly. But if you do have the Tehachapi and other things that are needed for the Powder River Basin, that's all listed on the link I'll link down below for the Powder River Basin, of course. But those things you can no longer procure are, if I'm not mistaken, temporarily available gratis on Railworks America as well. Now, I don't know how legally legit that is, and I of course don't want to steer you wrong or make you a criminal or anything like that, but I think it's been said, as far as they're not used for any kind of payware, which this is not payware, then it should be okay. So as of right now, May the 16th 2022, they will be linked below and should be available if you need them. But, I'm not sure how that's going to go going forward. But anyway, I couldn't leave it as is. This is a wonderful, wonderful map for Train Simulator, for North American stuff, no less. This is one of the best out there. That's not even an opinion. That is a straight fact. This is one of the best. It's a freeware map, again, made by Tomcat, and the guy's got an eye for this. This is Powder River Basin in its heyday. Back when almost 100 coal trains went up, down, all around this area daily. It's just insane. But again, as always, I'll link everything down below. But we're going to take a look at what I like to consider the jewel, the diamond, the gem of this entire map. And that is headed south. And we're going to head through the BNSF Canyon Subdivision. So it essentially starts right here at this junction. That away goes to Casper, Wyoming. So that's the appropriately named Casper Sub. And as you can see, a lot of this is not finished. Now, I still have an older build of Tomcat's route. I think he's updated it once or twice, possibly. So some extra stuff may be done. But it's not supposed to go that way, as far as I know anyway, towards Casper, Wyoming, and then up north, I believe it curves around. But of course, all the stuff that way is pretty much there. And most of the Canyon Subdivision is here as well. But you will see some missing stuff because it is a work in progress, as it is noted on the website and his 70-page thread on this immaculate North American route. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this thing. I couldn't leave it, even with what happened with 3D Trains, there's no way I could leave it right here, and not look at the BNSF Canyon Sub, which goes through Wendover Canyon, goes by a couple of reservoirs, and down to the little historic town of Guernsey. But we're going to check all that out. So first and foremost, we're starting up north, like I mentioned a moment ago, at the junction right here. So as you can see, Casper, this goes that way, and then Orin, which goes this way, and we are going to head south. Now, this is the North Platte River, which you'll go over twice on this little bit we're about to take a look at here, if I'm not mistaken. But this is all pretty much done for the most part. There's bits of scenery down this way that are not done. We'll kind of skip past those a little bit. But as always, the water areas that he's created look really, really nice. Again, the trees, the bushes, all of that is impeccable. The way it's been placed, it looks super natural. That's kind of hard to do with terrain simulator routes. And one of the things and reasons being, and things not typically looking fantastic, is the ground textures. So if you look in the distance there, they look quite muddy, right? But of course, the closer you get, they kind of fill out a little bit. But they still are very low res. I don't even know what they are. They're like 128 or 360 or I don't know. They're crappy though. So you will see that. That's something that cannot be changed or fixed at the moment, which probably never will be. But, if you cover it up with stuff like this, for the most part, where applicable, where it's natural to see, then it looks a lot better. But this is a very arid area. Now, of course, along the North Platte River here, it's got a lot of H2O. It's got a lot of water, so it's quite fertile. There's quite a lot of farmland down that way, which we'll see here in a moment. But for the most part, a lot of the arid regions are just going to be that bare, kind of deserty ground texture. But, as always, this section of the route where it starts right here looks phenomenal. It's got the crossing arms, got little BNSF trucks all throughout, got your radio towers, of course, signaling, the crossings, and the bridge. You've got your sign works, your whistle posts, your danger. Illegal BNSF police. Them bulls will get you. But yeah, this looks really, really good. Like the bridge, like the trestle, looks amazing. And the trees too, of course. But anyway, so we're going to zoom on down this way. Stuff will slowly load in. This is a massive map. You got to keep in mind, this is over 500 freaking miles of rails, probably more. I mean, you got to think a lot of this is, this little bit we're going to be on is mostly single track, but a lot of this is 4, 5, 6 in some places. So I'd like to know what the actual mileage is. So, of course, you see when you get away from the North Platte River and start heading this way, it gets a little bare. It's pretty much how it looks. Now, there is some, I forget what it's called, the the natural automated grass poppage. I forget what it's called. You will see some of that, which looks pretty nice. It does help when you're low in ground level, but I think for the most part this is unfinished. Come up here, a little dry creek bed here, of course, with some, like, just this little scene right here. This is what amazes me about this route. This looks fantastic. You can tell that this is fairly dry, except maybe for heavy rains or snow melt or something like that. Then it'll fill up. But you can see in the middle here where it'll stay kind of moist. We'll say moist. It's a fun word. And so there's stuff growing in the middle there. But it looks fantastic. And then, of course, the rocks growing on, either side and all that good stuff. But, yeah, just a damn good-looking little area there. Another high elevated crossing there. Scooch up this way is a massive reservoir off to the left here for a lot of leisure activities and things. Very nice. It's still a bit bare. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is an interstate over here to the right. I think it's I-25 or something like that. So, yeah. Odds are north and south, right? Yeah. And then evens are east and west. So, yeah, I wanted to say 26, but I think it's I-25. As you can see, though, the groundwork is here. Most of it's here. There's, the reservoirs over there. There's trees where there should be trees. And if you look at this stuff, as always, on Google Maps, which I, of course, like to do, and, look through Flickr, looking at pictures and all kinds of stuff, it's just perfect. It's 1-to-1. Even though this was, essentially about like a decade, 2 decades ago in its heyday when it was supposed to be, it looks pretty 1-to-1. Now, this is a little town here. This is one of, I think, like 2 essential towns on this bit of the canyon sub here. I forget the name of this town. Forgive. Let's see. What's the name of it? Son of a biscuit. What is it? Nope. I'm hoping it's going to be on here. I can't remember the name of the town. dad nabbit. But they got a set out track here, which is nice. And again, like, you know, you got to think this isn't done, and this looks, you know, better than most of the stuff we see sold on the Steam store. And what's funny is you look here, there is a boat dealer right here. Yes, in the middle of Wyoming, a boat dealer. Because, like I said, a lot of leisure activities. There's a huge reservoir. There's actually two. I think there's one up here, and then there's one down here a little ways. So there's a very, very large boat dealer. A couple of BNSF workers getting things done, or just sitting around looking at their phones anyway. Got your crossover, your overpass there. Another little ditch, and it's fairly blank through here, as you'll see. You'll see the, again, I cannot remember the name of this grass that pops up. The auto... whatever. I cannot think of the name of that crap right now. Apologies. There's another reservoir over there to the left you can kind of see. But this, you know, don't let this fool you. If you've never seen this before, do not let this area fool you, because once you kind of start crawling down into this canyon, oh my God, it's gorgeous. This there's really nothing to rival what this area looks like in Train Simulator as far as like canyons and rock faces and things like that. You know, Wasatch looks okay in some parts. Soldier Summit looks okay in some parts, but we're kind of creeping into the northern section of it here. And already the trees, the grass, the rocks, you know, the little bits of wood and logs laying around, get a little tributary there. It looks phenomenal through here. It's highly, highly scenic. There's not much in lieu of industry. There is like one or two in Guernsey. I think one essentially. We'll go over that once we get down there, but you can kind of see the range off to our it's kind of eastish now, but we are going south, and then we'll kind of curve eastward. But it's just absolutely gorgeous through here. I'll try to fill this out through you know, little bits of B-roll or footage of the trains going past and whatnot, because it's, you know, it's kind of hard to cover it all in one video and it not be like a 5-hour long video. So hence the purpose of just kind of going around and, you know, and looking at the map as is like this. You can see it's pretty dry over here. The grass is a lot different. Just dry. That's just waiting to catch fire. That's super dry grass there. Another little bridge here, ditch. Another set out track there. And we are coming up on the canyon straight ahead there. We'll just back out here. So there's quite a few ranches or farms through here. This kind of north end of the North Platte River and the canyon here, because obviously they get their water from the river there because it flows south. But you know, these are all here too, and they look extremely legit. You can see a couple of homesteads here, a couple of barns, tank. And I love this right here, the ranch entrance. This right here is like just that distant scenery through that gate right there. The power lines, the grass. I mean, look at those mountains in the distance. Good God, this is just amazing. And it's, you know, it's something fresh to North American Train Sim roots as well. It's it just looks phenomenal. We'll keep on scooching this way. All right, we're pretty much in the dang canyon now. So it's still single track. A lot of trains will get stopped passing, or they would have back in the day. I don't know if it's as busy as it used to be. But traditionally, coal trains would be moving north and south out of here. Of course, empties would be headed that way, back up towards the junction there and the mines, and then south would be loaded full of coal, of course. Let that load in there, and then here we go. We are down in the canyon. So this essentially flows downward. So it's kind of a plateau or a high valley back there, and it flows downward. Most of this, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to be going downhill if you go this way, if you go south. So it's got some minor grades. Some of the grades are about 0.8%, which, you know, depending on how much power you got and HPT and all that good stuff, you know, it might be a bit of a challenge, which is all right. You don't want it to be too easy, then it gets kind of boring. But it is gorgeous through here. So this closely follows the river here. Scooch up a little bit more. But all these little cuts, you know, like through here, like this right here, just look at this. It's just absolutely stunning. Any time of day, too. I tried to do like a late sun, kind of like late afternoon thing going on here with the shadows on the canyon floor. But this is gorgeous, and it's not something you see a lot of, even, you know, watching YouTube videos and things like that. There's a lot, well, I don't want to say a lot. There's some videos out there of this region, but it's just so remote and I guess hard to get to, you know, by car, or if you're a billionaire and you've got a helicopter or something like that, it's just hard to get to. But look at that. God almighty. What a scene right there. That's gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, you got some white water, some rapids going on down there, which is pretty cool. This is a big sporting area for kayakers and rafters and things of that nature, I think. Anglers, fly fishermen, all that good stuff. Got another wash coming down the side of that mountain there, that gorge. Little bridge here. Just absolutely gorgeous. Keep scooching on around this way. This is kind of a famous monument here that that butt into that rock formation there. That looks really cool. Another wash coming down out of the mountain there. Another little bridge. It's definitely single track now. But man, you get down to this level and look at this scenery. Good Lord. If you get up high, you know, there's not much around, but there doesn't need to be, you know. I mean, you're in the locomotive or the cab or whatever down here in the canyon. You don't see all that crap anyway, so. But it looks phenomenal. It looks so legit. There's a really good cab ride video coming through the canyon here, and it looks so apropos, if you will. It's just gorgeous. So it kind of flattens out here. This is not the end of the canyon. Well, it kind of is the end of the canyon, but it's not quite. So here is the Y. And this right here is, what is this here? I think it's called the Front Range Sub, which goes that way. Take a look at the map here. Yeah. That's the Front Range Sub. So this is BNSF trackage as well. This goes down to Denver, Colorado. And so we got some Colgons sat out here. Now, of course, it's not meant to go that way. You know, again, this is just the Powder River Basin region. And, you know, all points around the region, of course. But there's a big power station down that way several miles. I cannot remember. I think it's called, what is it called? Brain fart. I'll get it. Brain fart. Yeah. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, there's a big power station down there. They get coal. So, yeah. Colgons. I can't remember the damn name of it. Another set out track here. Got a nice service road here. Of course, you got some more nice rock face and rock formation. But it's such a stunning area. And it's totally different. Like, if you got this route, right? And you were just kind of, you know, up in the north, over to the west on the Orange Sub, and of course the east, you know, Sand Hills and all that area is gorgeous in its own right too. Like you'd likely never think that this is over here. It's just a gorgeous area. The first time I saw it, I was just gobsmacked. I mean, it's just absolutely stunning. But we'll keep scooching this way. Goes back to single track. Bit of a grassy bit here. Grass. And this is tunnel number 3. Now, it's actually tunnel number 2, but back in the day, it used to be tunnel number 3. Of course, when the CB&Q or Chicago, Burlington, and Guernsey, you know, built these tracks and built the railway out here, there were 3 tunnels. So just to cover a little bit of that first and foremost, like most of the tracks out here in the Powder River Basin, this was all built by the Chicago, Burlington, and Guernsey Railroad in the late 1800s, about 1880s, 1890s, early 1900s. And it's, march westward, kind of competing with the Transcon from UP, which is down south, down that a ways a little bit. But they built this area out here, and there was quite a bit of a challenge getting through here. I mean, not only this canyon, obviously, but some of the terrain out here was really not much like anything else in kind of central eastern Wyoming, I guess we could say. So at the time, the CB&Q spent the most money. Again, at the time, they spent the most money on this short section of track across the North Platte River, which we'll get down to here, and these 3 tunnels. It was like $2 million, and at the time, it doesn't sound like a lot today in railroading terms or anything really for that matter, but back in the day, man, $2 million, that was a lot. So they dumped their coin purse out building this area. So this is the 3rd tunnel here, original CB&Q tunnel. Let's see. This is here. This is another one of the reservoirs. I cannot remember the dang reservoir names. There's another cut here, as you can see, which this area is just absolutely stunning as well. So the canyon is pretty much done. When you're on a train rolling through it, it takes a lot longer, but I'm flying around in the A-cam here. But we're kind of up next to the reservoir here, where it's a little bit more wide open and flat, but this cut right here is one of the gorgeous parts of the route. You just set up right here, the train going northbound. I mean, look at that. That is unbeatable. That's just a gorgeous scene. But keep on rolling this way. I feel like it's called Newell Bay or Newell Bay. It's just like a giant body of water because the river is dammed up farther down here by Guernsey. It's called Newell or something like that. Or it might be the Guernsey Reservoir because the town Guernsey's down here. Oh, and that back there, that Y, forgot to say, that's Cottonwood Creek. So if you want to look that up or anything like that, the little bit that goes down to Denver, Colorado, that's Cottonwood Creek. So this right here, of course, is the reservoir as well. And this is a big, like I said, a big recreation area. I mean, you think of Wyoming, you don't think of these massive lakes or reservoirs like this, or at least I didn't. But there's campgrounds, RV campgrounds, all that good stuff right here. So he's got that all plopped down, which looks very, very excellent. It double tracks out this little bit here. And we'll keep on scooching, and this bit right here is really neat. So just let that load in here. Again, it's a fairly intensive route. This used to be tunnel number 2 of the CB&Q, Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. But, when BNSF got a hold of it and, needed to modernize it because of, certain types of trains. If I'm not mistaken, I think even stack trains come through here. But, they needed to make it larger. They needed to widen it out. Most likely because of the twin track here. But this is interesting. This is where the number 2 tunnel was. And you can definitely tell something used to be here. They didn't just lay all this damn concrete here for nothing. They would have just cut into the rock face, so... But even that's really cool. That's neat. In real life, there's like a little kind of a doodad here, like telling a little story, if I'm not mistaken. Super brain fart again, like with the reservoir in town. Apologies. Deepest apologies. Need more coffee. But this area is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. A little bit more of the reservoir right here. I think this may be the Guernsey Reservoir, and then that back there is the Newell Bay, which is like a reservoir as well, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll zoom up here. And then this is tunnel numero 1, which is right here. So again, OG CB&Q tunnel. Bursts out. We'll get up high real quick. You can kind of see why it's needed. Bit of a mountain there. Bit of a hilltop. And then that's the longest one as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, That's tunnel number 1. So now there's just 2 tunnels. And then Guernsey. So this is a fairly short line, so it's going to be a fairly short video, which is always hard to do. But it's a fairly short line. We'll take a look at the map again real quick. So it's essentially from here to here. This is Guernsey here. And then this is essentially the valley sub down through here, which we'll go over at a later date, because there's just too damn much on this map to look at it in one go. It would be like a month-long video, which is just insane. So here's the North Platte River again for the second time. Be crossing over it. And again, seen for days. Views for days right here. This is just absolutely gorgeous. Again, you got the river valley, plenty of grass, nice and fertile. And this is the town of Guernsey. It's a pretty good sized town. It's situated in Platte County, Wyoming, and it was named for a cattle rancher who kind of settled the land. One of the first guys out here to settle the land, and it's got a lot of cool history behind it. It lies directly on the Oregon Trail, and there is a park over here. I think it's called the Trail Ruts Park or the Oregon Trail Ruts Park or something like that. But it's got history. It's just chock full of time and history and all kinds of stuff in this little park where these cattle and wagons and people, were headed west for a better life and opportunities and all that good stuff. And they just kind of, so many of these wagons and cattle and people crossed these lands that they left these huge ruts in the ground, which are still there to this day. Some of them are several feet deep, and it's rock, so they're not going anywhere. But it's just a neat bit of history, and that's kind of why the town popped up as well, because it was right along the the river here. There's a big bend or a big elbow in the river up there. Not to mention CB&Q, of course, back again, just like this whole damn area. Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad pretty much made this bit of Wyoming what it is today, because they built their railroad out here. So it's a neat little place, though. But yeah, there's a national monument like down that way somewhere. But the town was officially incorporated when the CB&Q got here. So, and it of course sits along the North Platte River. We'll zoom down here a bit. There's a highway right there. It's not terribly done scenery-wise down here, but again, it doesn't need to be because it's not near the railroad. But the town looks fantastic. If you look on Google Maps and look at this, it is literally 1-to-1 for the most part. It's a legit little town. And then, of course, here's the 640-foot spanned river, which the CB&Q built as well, which was all part of the whole thing of that big $2 million spending spree that they made on this little area between this and the 3 tunnels and just all the crazy gradients up through the canyon there. And this looks amazing. I mean, how Tomcat was able to build this, I don't know anything about, assets or scenery building or anything like that, but how he was able to build this and it look this good, because this is pretty much what the damn bridge looks like in real life, just still amazes the crap out of me. It looks very, very good, and it's just scenic as HE double hockey sticks. So, of course, this is the North Platte River. It goes up this way. The dam is right up here. You can tell it's a little bit lower. Now, again, the scenery's not done up here, but this is where the dam would be. So you can actually tell, he put the 2 levels of water here, because this is where the reservoir is, and then that's the river. So that's all the reservoir back in there. You can kind of see the tracks center screen there. But it is a freaking pretty area. I cannot help with the expletives. It's so amazing. It's super scenic. Sometimes I get on PRB and just hop on the train and just ride around for 2 hours, just looking around, killing time, and it's well worth it, because it's just absolutely gorgeous around here. There's an old track or an old line that follows this road here. It's called Tank Track Road now, or something like that now. But I am fairly certain it was a railroad. This road here used to be a railroad. That's kind of the rail bed. I don't know where it went. I don't know what it was. It might have been part of the CB&Q. There were several individual companies back in the day that kind of had their own railroads, because that was like how it worked. That was the thing. A company had the railroads, and it was named after a company. It might have been that, but I'm not entirely sure. But this is Guernsey. It's a little bit of sad history with Guernsey. Well, it's a neat place, and it certainly was and kind of still is a big BNSF place. This is like the anchor of the Canyon Sub right here. But back in, what was it, 2020, so a couple of years ago, with Donkey Creek, the Guernsey shops got shut down as well. So it's kind of a shadow of its former self. I think some 80 or 90 or 100 employees, lost their jobs or got sent elsewhere or something like that. But I think a bit of this is still here, but it's kind of a shadow of its former self, sort of like the entire theme of the route. I mean, this is something captured in time. It's like a freaking mosquito in the tree sap, like in Jurassic Park. Think of it like that. It's it's captured in time, how it was back in its heyday, but a lot of stuff goes on here. Big BNSF yard. It's not quite as big as Donkey Creek, obviously, but they've got quite a few things. They've got fuel tanks. They've got a loco shop, a car shop, a big office down there, all kinds of stuff. But this is a railroad town through and through. And I'm not entirely sure what happened to it when BNSF shuttered everything up here for the most part, but I don't know. I'm assuming it's still somewhat okay. BNSF still has to use it, but so these are empty. So these are going back to the Orin, obviously. So that's loaded up, ready to pass through the canyon there. Over here, we've got the car shop. Got a couple of Colgons sitting there, getting new axles, brake pads, whatever the hell they're doing. Got some more there ready to go. So they could just be empties, coming back from the south and east, or they could be repairs, going back up to the strip mines to be used. But a little neat thing is up here. Where's the track at? Did I lose it? I lost the track's over here. I'm a dingus. Here we go. This is actually a Martin Marietta aggregate mine. Now, I don't know if it's still rail served or not. Now, Martin Marietta is a massive company. It's kind of funny because I was just looking at the, the KCS Heavener map route for Train Simulator. And there was a giant Martin Marietta quarry in that as well that's in Arkansas. But same company, Martin Marietta aggregate, threw a couple of rock cars there. Yes, they say CSX. Yes, CSX. That's, it's pretty much all I got for rock cars. Sorry. Subi. But there's a little granary over here. I don't think it's rail served anymore. I think the tracks are still there, but there's one thing you could do, if you want to do some industry, get you some ballast or whatever the hell Martin Marietta does. This is their tanks right here. Got a couple of random cars set up here. Local stuff, stuff the railroad itself needs. Couple of yard donkeys sitting there. Of course, with some fuel tanks, but all this stuff, like all the industry on this map too, is what makes it. I mean, just this fuel tank, this comes from the Tehachapi stuff on 3D Trains, but these assets are golden. This is what makes this route is these assets. But it's of course it's not just that. It's all the scenery as well. But it's a little airport over here, as you can see, and this is some sort of military thingamabob right here. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something militaristic. It's a BNSF office with the control tower. He's done a little bit of witchcraft. Now, this is what's always cool. It kind of harkens back to the Minerman stuff for New York, the Bergen line by Minerman. So, of course, you go down in here and some witchcraft going on. Got your tower sticking out there and your aircraft control tower. But, boy, if you just hop on out of here and take a look, it looks legit. It looks pretty cool. They can look down over the all the yard workers and the hostlers and all that stuff. It's a cemetery over here, very large as well. Going over the power lines there, or the power lines are going over it anyway. And so the yard's kind of split. So that's that. And then we go back over here, and then this to the right, that's fuel up bit right there, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. This is the passing track right here, the southernmost bit. And then this is the yard. These are the loco shops. Of course, we got more tanks. Just set a couple of random bongers there. Shops. Fairly large yard. Depending on your specs or your PC, I'm kind of stressing the limits now with what I got placed out here, just so it's relatively smooth. But yeah, that's what I got there. It's mainly coal, coal gons. You might have some local stuff and whatnot, but yeah, and that's pretty much it. And then that away is the Valley Sub, which continues on, and it's fairly scenic as well. But as you can tell, it's a lot flatter than this back here. But it's just a hella gorgeous area. This I could not finish looking at the Powder River Basin, at least without looking at the Canyon Sub. But I think I'm gonna persevere. I'm gonna keep on going. We've only got, I think, 2 or more subdivisions to look at. I know we got the Valley Sub. We got another one. I can't think of what the name of it is presently, but we've just about made our way around the entire map in itself. We started down here in Nebraska, of course, southeast Nebraska. But we've just about made our way all around this map, and it is an absolute masterpiece. Again, if you're new to it, I will link it down below where you can find all the stuff you'll need, and you'll definitely want to read over the thread as well. It's got a lot of great history and information as to what goes on around here, what kind of trains you might see, what you'll need, all that good stuff. But it's it's essential to read that instead of trying to just grab all the files and throw them in there. And do diligence, do a little bit of digging, do a little bit of reading, not digging for boogers, of course, but information wise, or digging for boogers if that's your thing, whatever, that's fine. But that's it, guys. That's the BNSF Canyon Sub from the Orange Junction down to Guernsey, or Guernsey. I'm not sure how they say it. I'm going to say Guernsey. I was always thinking it was going to be like some, British named thing, but it was a dude named Guernsey, so worked out. Anyway, though, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. There will be more. Don't know when, don't know what, but I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. See you guys.